Hi, good. Thank y'all for being here. We're going to talk about the bowl game on Friday, so we'll do another one of these on Friday. So anything to do with the bowl game, let's hold till Friday if you don't mind. Special day for us here at West Virginia. Really special day for really any prospect that's signing. You think that about all that goes into getting to be able to play at this level, and there's so much parent-wise, high school coach-related, 7-on-7, those type of things, trainers, all those things that go into it now. And so we're just very appreciative of the families that have entrusted us to continue that development. We'll, before the day's out, we'll be in that, 20 to 22 range, I believe, with additions to our program. Still waiting on a couple. And there's a lot that goes into this class on our end as well. And I think that you see pictures and official visits, unofficial visits. Dr. Gee and Shane Lyons, they take time to meet every guy that we have come on an official visit. I don't think that happens everywhere. And our on-field staff obviously pours a lot of time and effort into the recruitment, whether it's on the phone or in-person visits, evaluations. But really the brunt of the work is behind the scenes. And the recruiting staff, whether it's Katie Gusto and our on-campus recruiting staff, whether it's Scott Gasper and Trey Nyer and their GAs and their team of interns that are really part of the initial evaluation process. Then our creative, graphics, those take time, those take effort, the videos that we produce. And then our support staff. There's a lot of non-traditional work time that's eaten up with recruiting, whether it's academics, athletic training, strength conditioning, fifth quarter, nutrition, we can go on and on. But this class, which we're very, very proud of, it's the culmination of a lot of people's work. So I want to make sure that we show our gratitude to them as well. With that, I'm going to open up to questions. Feel free to ask, if you want to ask about anybody individually, if you want to ask about the side of the ball, however you want to ask. But this is a group that we're really excited. It's been a group that we've put countless time into, and it's a group that thankfully we got to evaluate most of them, from camps to going out and seeing them play this fall, and then they are able to come on campus for unofficial visits during the summer, unofficial visits for games, but also official visits, which is refreshing since we didn't get to have that last year, which I'm frequently reminded by the 21 class we didn't get to have official visits. So with that, questions.
Great. So start with generic, just identifying needs. What did you see? Probably a year ago you were doing that. Needs in this class. How'd you fill them? And are there still needs going forward? I'd assume because you still got a bunch of scholarships.
Yeah, we will. We'll have 32 that we'll sign for sure. And so really when you're dealing with that number, and we felt, I don't say we knew, but we felt confident that NCAA was going to make some kind of ruling that would give you additional scholarships. So we knew that we would have more than the traditional 25. We didn't know what that number was until they released it a few weeks ago. But we will have 32 that are available. We'll use 32. We want to probably be in that, I think we've talked about this maybe during the bye week or maybe after, is we want to probably be in that ballpark 25-ish range for high school student athletes, and then add some transfers. And all the transfers we won't add, in the next month. Some of those are going to be post-spring practice as well. Once you have a chance to, in case somebody gets injured, you can go through the evaluation process during the spring. But that's the thought process. And really from a need standpoint, what we did is we try to address everything, because we do have some light rooms. And if you look at it offensively, high school quarterback, I think that's always kind of the focal point of any class, because the quarterbacks develop leadership skills within their class first and foremost, which is something that Nico definitely did. We felt like we needed to add an older running back. We would like to add a high school running back, a kid that we felt really good about, and still I think he's a good person. He changed his mind and wants to stay close to home, and that happens. We really like the receiver group that we've added. We've got one more that we'll add later on today. Offensive line, we continue to add to that room. I think it's gone from a room that was really probably the weaknesses on our football team that we're continue to add bodies. We had 4 quality bodies in that room, and now our first group started playing better toward the end of the season, and now we think we're going to have continued depth there. And then Corbin Paige at tight end, and he's a guy that has a variety of skills at that tight end position. Defensively, if you look at it, linebacker was a point of need. we're down numbers there. And so we were able to add an older guy in Lee who we feel like can come in and compete right away, and some young developmental guys. Add 3 corners, which is a point of emphasis. We'll continue to add numbers in that secondary class for sure. Add 2 quality D linemen, and we'll continue to add at least 2 more. We'd like to add 2 more high school guys to that group up front. So, and then we needed a punter, and we went all the way to Australia to find one. We continue to be the stop for international here. We're an international football program, Greg.
Along those lines, I'm counting 15 states, 2 countries, no
3,
airport
because
here.
really it should be 3 because Asani was born and raised in Jamaica and really went to high school here for a little over 2 years at Collins Hill. And so, yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry, guys.
No, I was just going to say the logistical challenges of doing that when you don't even live in a town where there's an airport.
Yeah. So the last 2 weeks were hectic, So the recruiting evaluation period, contact period starts the Sunday after our Kansas game. And really from that Sunday after Kansas, I was gone that whole week. And our staff was gone the whole week. We came in, we hosted, I think, 3 official visitors that first weekend. Left out again Sunday. Okay, came back again Friday late. Hosted, I think, 6 official visitors last weekend. And so, yeah, we went from Boston, Massachusetts to Phoenix, Arizona to Sean Mahone's awards banquet there in Las Vegas, all the way to South Florida. And it's we covered some mileage. We did. We covered some mileage, and we've got a collective group that we feel good about. And I think I'd be shocked if anybody watches these press conferences that every school across Power 5 football is having and says, I don't feel good about that. All right, so we feel good about these guys, and I think everybody does. But, I think it's important. We're not done yet. I think that we still have some needs that we've got to address. We're not done yet. And we didn't get everybody that we wanted. There's some that some we lost down here at the end. There's, like I already spoke about, one commitment we lost. But the guys we signed, I think, are high-level players. And going into really our 3rd recruiting class, we made some mistakes in our first recruiting class. I think I was on with Jed earlier today, and I said that we made some mistakes just because I don't know in our first true signing class if I had a really good didn't have as good a feel as we needed to of what the fit was, okay, for Morgantown, for West Virginia University, for what fit within the structure of our program. Now we do. And so these guys are not only really good football players, we feel confident that they're the correct fit for what we want to do here.
Obviously, you talked about Nico a little bit. Go into depth on him. What would you see about him going to Arizona for a player a little unusual? So just
it is. He so his mom's from North Carolina, so they have some family here on the East Coast. And the thing, he's got some it factor. I think he's going to be a guy that's a fan favorite from day one. He's got charisma. I think he's got strong leadership capabilities. He's a student of the game. He loves football. He's been groomed from an early age by his father, Ken, to be a Division I and hopefully an NFL quarterback. But when you go watch him play, and I was fortunate enough during the bye week to be able to go out and watch him play, dual threat. He's left-handed, but the ball comes out of his hand really smooth. He's got a strong arm. He can run. He's a physical runner, and he's a great teammate. And you think when you get to know these kids, oh yeah, good kids. But then when you go watch and you're able to watch and just sit back, and he's the first to congratulate his teammates when they score. He meets the defense when they come off the field. So he's talented, but he's also got those other, intangibles that you're like, okay, hey, these are the things that really take somebody that's really talented and make them special.
Quarterback in your past?
This is going to be the first.
Say anything to you?
I think he's a tough guy. I think it's a really athletic family. I think he grew up as the youngest of the 3 boys, and they're just really competitive. And Dad was a college football player, played in the NFL for a while, and he's been around, competitive athletics for a long time, and so he's tough. The one thing that that really stood out to me, especially when we started recruiting heavy this summer or late last spring and kind of getting to know him is he handles adversity more than a lot of young quarterbacks. You know, so that to me is not only physically tough, which the wrestling proves, but he's also mentally tough.
You think you could get him ready to play this year?
I don't know. Let's get him here first, Bob. Let's see. Let's get, you know what I mean? Like, I think there's a lot of freshmen that play in college football. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Not at quarterback position, but there are quarterbacks that get ready to play. You know, I'll be able to give you a lot better answer to that during spring practice. So I think it's to be determined.
You know, you got 2 traditional transfers on here.
Yep.
You said you want to take some more. What positions are you looking forward at that you know you want to try to take a transfer at?
Yeah, probably going to get. You know, we needed to add a running back. That was important. Lynn J, it's a little bit different because so he went to Taylor County High School in Butler, Georgia, and so one of the last quarterbacks we signed there at Troy, he was a freshman, a redshirt freshman the last year that Coach Reagan and I were there, but he was from Butler, and he went to Taylor County High School, same class as Lynn J, Gunnar Watson, and so Lynn J came and visited at Troy. He was around. He would ride with Gunnar to games, camps, those type of things. So we had a pre-existing relationship. Obviously, he was really successful. And I think this really speaks well to Lynn J, too, is there's the people at Clemson there that there's several that I really trust, and they all were really, really positive. So he's productive, plus he's the right kind of guy, plus he's graduating. You know, he graduates maybe today or tomorrow. And then Zach Key, I think it's important to bring back. If you got an opportunity to bring back, you know, homegrown talent, guy that can definitely play. He's changed his body. I think he's a really good fit for what we're going to do in the interior defensive line. As far as positions, I'll probably get to the end of spring ball. You know, defensively for sure. You know, we want to add some secondary help. You know, and we'll just see how it plays out with who's coming back, who's not, as far as adding some other pieces.
You have a count on how many will enroll in January?
Not right now, Greg. What I'll do is I'll get that to Monty, and I'll have him give me a few minutes after this press conference. I just don't have it marked on my sheets here.
That rule for 32 is just a one-time thing, but the transfer portal is definitely not, right? Should there be some sort of – I know you don't want to make the rules, but if you had some sort of like permanent flexibility?
Yeah, and I was talking to and y'all probably saw that in Sports Illustrated. Ross Dellinger was asking the question yesterday, and I just think we have to – it is what it is. You know, the transfer portal is free agency. And I don't follow all the professional sports as probably close as some of you all do, but in free agency, the professional leagues have designated windows for that, right? So I think that what we got to do is the entire calendar needs to be revisited. Now, I'm a proponent of the early signing day. I will say that. You know, I think a lot of people there's been a lot written maybe in the last few weeks about should the early signing day be here or not. I'm a proponent. I do. I don't believe all the early coaching changes and the coaching upheaval. I don't think that had anything to do with signing day, early signing day. I think it has things to do with more information and trying to be the first, you know, to be out there. I just don't believe that it has anything to do with the early signing date. But, you know, for the portal, I think we just need to look at certain periods where you can enter and certain periods where you can sign guys from the portal. And I don't have a great answer for it, so I'm not complaining about it. You know, I think that's going to be really a point of emphasis when we have our AFCA convention in early January. But I think we need to evaluate that because it's not going anywhere. And I'm not complaining about it. I just think there needs to be certain open windows and closed windows.
Do you see it affecting graduation rates in the long run? Going down?
You know, initially I thought so, yes. But universities as a whole are taking more and more transfer credits. I see that, you know, because that was my initial thought on it. But I don't know if that's the case anymore, honestly, because I can speak here and where I've been previously, and not just at Troy, but previous stops, and more transfer credits are being accepted.
Sonny Redwood, a guy you got late, what did you like about him?
Well, you know, it's a great story because, you know, less than 18 months ago, kid weighed about 185 pounds, 180 pounds, and he's 265 now. Only played 2 years of football. And it's not like this deal where he played backyard football or he didn't. He grew up, he played soccer. He's played 2 years of football, played at a great program. Collins Hill just won the 7A state championship in the state of Georgia. They're going to play in a national championship game in Las Vegas on Saturday. And the kid broke the single season sack record. Same high school Jared Bartlett went to. He had 19 and a half sacks. Man, that's a lot. That's a lot of sacks, because you eventually figure out, hey, I better slide my protection to him, right? And that means he's still winning, or you're going to chip him and he's still winning. And so extremely humble individual. He's a guy that is just now scratching the surface. He still has so much to learn. He reminds me of Akeem in a lot of different ways. And I'm not putting that, because Akeem came here a freshman All-American, has been a 2-year starter. But a lot of the same qualities that we saw in Akeem, I see those in Asani as well.
Eric Burton, another foreign defensive lineman. You've gotten a few foreign kids now. Success with that, and what do you see out of Burton in particular?
Yeah, well, I think it's to be determined on several of them. Obviously, I think Eddie V's come in here and been a great addition to what we're doing and played well down the stretch for us. So Eric is very much a developmental player. He was born in the United States and then went to Germany, and then just came back and played his senior year at Clearwater Academy International down the same spot that Akeem played his last season of high school football. He's long, really lean right now. It's going to be a year to 2 year project for him to get to the weight. It's great. He's got great ball get off, and that was really what drew us to us, is his ability to get off on the snap count. And he's long. We need to affect more passes. Like we haven't created takeaways at the rate we need to create takeaways. And some of that's on we got to be in tighter coverage. We got to catch the ball when it's thrown to us. But other piece of it is we got to get our hands on more balls, more deflections up front. And he's every bit of 6'5". He gets his hands up. He's got, I forget what his wingspan is, but it's really long. And now he's got to learn. He's got to gain some strength. He's got to gain weight. He is one that will be here in January. So the additional time will help him.
Spring Valley's becoming your feeder school. What do you see from the latest one?
Yeah, so without a doubt, it's been a really good place for us. You think about it. At some points next year or in the future, we could have a right guard, a right tackle, and a tight end, all from the same high school. And for you guys, for the people in this room that are from this state, I don't know if that's ever happened. To have your right guard, your right tackle, and your tight end all from the same school, much less playing right in a line. So a pretty neat story there. I think that, first of all, they do a great job there getting guys ready. Talking about Corbin, we felt like Corbin was the top prospect in the state this year. He has really invested a lot of time and energy changing his body. John, this time a year ago, he's probably 30 to 40 pounds heavier. He spent the first 3 years of his high school career being an inline tight end. And really just blocking, and then they would throw in the occasional pass. This year they changed offenses due to personnel. He plays wide out the whole time. He's got great body control. Came here in our 7-on-7. In our 7-on-7 tournaments, we've got teams from all over this kind of 4-hour radius, and against some really good schools from the DMV area, in the Philadelphia area. He made play after play. So he's got great body control. And so a guy that we're excited about, I think that he can do everything that we want a tight end to do. And that means from a receiving standpoint, playing in the backfield, playing with his hand down. He's going to add a receiving element of that outside of Mike O and potentially Charles Finley we haven't had.
2 JUCO kids, they have to play right away. And what do you see out of
Jeremiah
Aaron and Hershey?
Yeah, so Jeremiah Aaron, as a kid that was just really, really productive. He's going to have the ability to play inside and outside. If you look what he's done in 2 years, played for Scott Parr, who was head coach of Navarro. Now he's at Louisiana Tech. He was on our staff at Texas Tech when I was there. His position coach, Cornelius Douglas at Navarro, played for us at Texas Tech too. I like Jeremiah because I like his skill set. I like the fact that he was really productive. He was a great perimeter blocker as well. He's strong, and he was really good in the return game. He was a punt returner, which is something that we need. We've got to improve at. and then he's a proven kickoff returner too. So, and then talking about Hershey Maclaurin, on the all-name team for sure, but he was a high school quarterback. Hurts his knee, misses his entire year. Great student. Could had several opportunities to go play college football coming out of high school or use his academic prowess. Chose to go to Jones County Junior College, one of the better junior college programs in the country. Goes there. They move him to safety. He looks the part. He was here this past weekend. Great family. He's long, every bit of 6'2.5" to 6'3", 200 pounds plus. We fully anticipate him coming in and be able to compete. We really do. He'll be here in January. Another guy that, those jobs are going to be up for grabs. We've got some guys that we're redshirting this year, and we're adding Hershey, and probably will add, at least one more body in that room at some point. And so, but we're excited about him.
You went to Australia, obviously, got a punter. What did you like about him, and do you see him as a factor pretty much from the get-go with the scholarship?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we signed him. Now, he's got to go win the job, but that's why we signed him. He's from the Pro Kick organization, and if you look across college football, most of the guys that are from Australia are through Pro Kick. They do a good job of training guys there. Ali, he's unique. He can kick both feet. He can roll to his right. He can roll to his left. He can kick spirals. He kicks end over end. We've had Tyler's done a nice job. He had a much better year 2 than he did year 1. But what Ali will give us the opportunity to do is change field position. We'll be able to kick away from the returners. People may have to use 2 returners. 2 returners means less rushers. We think he can potentially be a game-changing type of player within special teams.
Zach Anglin messaged me. He said, "Will we be able to punt with both feet at the same time?"
No, I don't know if he can hang in the air. I guess and I think it's important too. Is like, our fans will remember Josh Groudon, who was tremendous at the pooch punt. And so with Josh, we rolled right and left, and he was able to kick across his body, and he did a nice job. This kid can do all that, but he has a stronger leg than Josh, and that comes from Josh. So I'm not on him.
Josh, give you a little recommendation on him?
Oh yeah, he's pumped. He's pumped. He reached out to me on Twitter, and he was pumped.
Is that versatility, you think, the reason so many people are going that route? You see, it seems like everybody has an Australian punter.
Yeah, well, I think it's probably a little bit of a copycat. There's copycats all over, you know what I mean? And but no, they've been effective. At the end of the day, what you're trying to do is you want to change field position, you want to take the return out, and you want to make people not want to rush you. And so what the Australians have done is they've been able to kick away. They're great at placement. The ability to go right and left means you can alternate your protection. And so without a doubt, I think it's something that's you're seeing in the NFL, you're seeing across Division I college football, and I anticipate it continuing.
It looks like no game action of guys like that, and then the tape can be like really tricky, right? It's tape of a guy punting in the field. How do you trust that and project that to football and make that commitment?
So,
or the track record for what they do.
So the track record is a factor in it, without a doubt. Okay, we're able to see some Australian rules football, which by no means am I an expert. But then what they do is the pro kick guys do a really good job of looking at the schemes that you use, and they put on film the type of kicks that fit your scheme. And we make them not wear helmets so you can see their face, and you can do it, you know what I mean? And you make them track the ball, and they send you film that has a timer. They catch a snap, so you know what their ball get off is. You can see the hang time, all those type of things. They've got it down to a science, which is credit to them. And you get to see everything that you'll need to see outside of game action.
Like seamless tape.
It's a seamless
Good and
tape.
bad, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Somebody take a home visit with them?
No, we didn't. In normal cases we would, Greg, but they've got some really hard COVID restrictions. So Ali actually, he came here last weekend on his official visit, and the reason his timing was a little bit different than some of these other Australians that signed, he's actually in London. So because he Yeah, he's not. He won't go back to Australia before he comes back because of the quarantine rules that they have in place.
4 offensive linemen that you signed. Was there seems like there's a competitive streak in them, and was that what you're looking for with these guys?
Well, I think they're all a little bit different. I think that they're all 4 close, which I think is a credit to Coach Moore, but also a credit to the guys that we have in our O-line room right now, because they've done a really good job welcoming them in. And I always think that's one of Matt's really biggest strengths, is he creates chemistry within that room. But if you look at like Sully Weedman from right outside Boston, he's big. I think he can play any of the spots, guard or tackle. Really strong guy. He stays on his feet. And then you look at Mo Hamilton. He's a guy that he's changed his body. He's lost approximately 40 pounds probably over the last 18 months. He can bend, and I would say his ability to bend, because it's a pad level game inside. And so that's really what drew us to him, was he could get low and he generated movement. And he's got more length than some people that you see with that build sometimes. It's from an arm length standpoint, but he's really physical, and he did a good job, and he's been demanded of. And so his coach, Max Stevens, played in the NFL for a long time. He's got a tough football program there at Cleveland Heights, and we feel like Mo's going to be prepared. Charlie is from up the road, but he's played against quality competition at Choate Rosemary. And then Landon Livingston from Leo we think he could be guard or a center. He's got great football intelligence. He plays in an offense where he pulls and traps, and man, he's light on his feet. He's really athletic, plays basketball. So all 4 of those guys. Sully will be a tackle starting off. Charlie will be a tackle. Probably start Landon at center and Mo at guard.
Do you think you need another one, or
No, we'd like to add one more. We would. I'm not sure yet if that'll be a high school, junior college, or a tackle, or a transfer tackle. Yeah, but we would like to add one more piece.
Walk-on component, obviously, you don't release those names, but I know you talk about the importance of.
I think they're critical. We really, and I think that's something that we had a group. We were fortunate when we got here. We had a group of really guys that either had already earned a scholarship, that earned a scholarship really early on in our tenure here, and of West Virginia guys that really understood and kind of helped spread what West Virginia football meant from a state standpoint to our team. And a lot of those guys kind of left, and now they graduated or their eligibility, or they decided to move on with their life, get married, and start a job and those type of things. And so I thought last year's walk-on class was really strong. They made some contributions this year. I think most of them are redshirt, and I think they'll make some contributions next year. But now, really probably going into January, it's the first time since year 1 where we got really that strong group that I think can really make a difference. And what we want to build here, and I think the walk-on program here has always been really successful. You can go back. We're putting a graphic up on the wall, so I've actually gone through who's earned scholarships over the last 10 years, and it's impressive. The number is impressive. And so I always think about Kansas State, which with Coach Kleiman they're doing continual, but under Coach Snyder played special teams at a really, really high rate, and so many of those were homegrown Kansas kids that were walk-ons that earned that opportunity, and that's love. And I'd love for that to be what we build here.
One final one from me. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, go, Greg. I'm sorry.
Well, it's a stupid one from me. Do you still use a fax machine?
No, we don't. I laugh because my wife asked me that today. I'm like, nope. It's been pretty easy. It's pictures now. They have to send back the hard copy, but it's pictures. That's how we verify everything. Mike?
Do you still have caps on positions, or is that because the roster's so volatile now, you really have to be flexible because you might need something you don't know about? Yeah,
I think you always got to hold some open spots. I think that's a starting point, and then it's that's something is within the profession. Like I was on the phone earlier in the week with another head coach, and we were having that exact same conversation, Mike, about because it used to be like the way we do our roster numbers is you want to say, like, give you an example. You would want to be at 5 quarterbacks, 15 offensive linemen, 6 running backs. Are you following me? Well, now there's no way you're ever going to have 5 scholarship quarterbacks. Like, there's no way. You know, there's probably not going to be a chance that you're going to hold on to 15 scholarship offensive linemen any longer. You know, if you're in a one-back offense, there's the odds of you hold on to 6 scholarship running backs is very, very low. And so I think what you do is you kind of have a minimum number that you have to be at. And so that's what you got to maintain. And then you got to have the scholarship availability where, okay, if something happens, you do have an initial where you can go fill that immediate need. So we still have those in place as caps, but I think the days of meeting those caps are probably in the past, unless the rules change.
So with 32, and there could be further attrition, so I know you don't know your final number. Can you get close to 85?
Yeah, we really will. I think we'll be real close. You know, and we'll have some attrition after spring ball. And I know our fans think we're the only ones that lose them. Now, we've lost a little bit more than some, but, I mean, it's just that's just the world we live in now, you know. And honestly, Gray, I used to take it really, really personal, you know. And there's some that when they leave, I'm like, man, that's a lot of time. It's a lot of relationship. But it's just, I think that's the era of college football we're in right now. And so we will be able to add 32. It won't be above that. You know, the 32 is the hard number this year. We will, I'm sure, have some attrition, you know, between now and the end of spring, you know, just like probably everybody else. But I do feel this is going to be the highest number of scholarship players that we'll have during a season. I do feel confident in that.
The connotation with that is completely different now, too. You know, you said you used to take it personal, but
Yeah.
guys leave now. It doesn't matter. You could do everything right. Guys could be playing. They could leave. I mean, it used to be a sign of issues, and now it's not necessarily that.
Yeah, I mean, just you know, look at some of the programs that have lost kids here recently. I mean, I think it's, I think there's a few different elements to it. Is, you know, I think that there's one element that we probably don't think about or give as much credence to that actually we probably should is this. They see it on social media and they think, oh, well, all right, that is an option. Maybe I need to pursue that. You know, kind of a follower mentality, maybe a little bit. But there are, you know, I think that it's easier for me to stomach if a kid's graduated. You know, kind of going back to Bob's question. You know, which several that we've had left have been graduates. You know, I appreciate the ones that really handled it the right way, you know, and come and talk to you and explain where they're at. And most of them is they want to go because they want an increased role, you know. And while you don't want them to leave, like, you at least understand where they're coming from, Keenan. You know, like they either not playing and they want to be in the 2 deep, or they're a backup and they want to be a starter. Now, some of the advice that they're taking, you know, I think is very questionable. But if they come and they handle it in the right way, then, hey, you understand. You know, and some of these that we've had or that are out there too are disciplinary issues, you know, and I don't think it's necessarily the college coaches that put everything out there, you know, because we are in a business where we're trying to educate and help develop young people. And so if they didn't take advantage of the opportunity at your current school, there's no reason to hamper their ability to go help to find a place at the next one. So I don't, you know, there are some that still you're like, oh man, you know, what do we? Because you always evaluate what'd you do wrong, you know, and in some you can beat yourself up. There's nothing you could have done, and so it is different, you know, and you still want to hold on to all the ones you want to keep, but that's probably not the reality that we live in right now.
And the portal gets you right, and I think of Baylor, who won 2 games and they won 11 this year, and they had a bunch of transfers.
Yeah. So there's a lot more to that, John, than, you know, what I'm saying is they hit 2 O linemen and a D lineman, which were huge hits. I absolutely agree with you on that. The D lineman was a difference maker. the two O linemen. Was it 2 or 3? 2 for sure. They may have had a third, but without a doubt, big. Now, they made a change in offense. I mean, there's a lot of different things. They didn't turn the ball over this year. But those were key pieces. But I wouldn't say those were the main reasons behind the turnaround. Bernard played. He was hurt last year. You know what I mean? And so, but is the portal a tool to help your team? Yes, for sure. It absolutely is a tool. But I think you gotta be careful that you're adding the right pieces, you know? And so, but yes, is it something that we're going to use? Yes. You know, we added 2 today. You know, I think there could be 5 to 6 or so more that we'll add. You know, I think that can it be the sole? I don't know. You know, the Michigan State, they had a bunch, John, but I haven't really, you know, I haven't studied how much of a factor they made. Obviously, the running back did. He gets a lot of press, you know, because he had a tremendous year, you know, finished in whatever place in the Heisman Trophy candidate, as a Heisman Trophy candidate. But they also had a lot of older guys who were in that program that had been playing and just played at a higher level this year too. But it is definitely a tool. I rambled there.
Look at the high-profile guys, and this is the guys everybody talks about, but you're also building your depth through there too, right? You see a lot of people that are doing that, that are building their depth.
Well,
be a transfer from one school to the other.
Yeah, but there's a lot of exchanging of backups.
Right. So you have 22 on your list right now. Are you saying there could be one?
There could be one. Yeah, there could be one more.
You talked about the advice some of these kids that are transferring, being questionable. Is there anything that could be done about that, either rules-wise or
well, there.
Is there any tampering?
Yeah, there is, but it's the hardest thing in the tampering world. And I've heard, a couple guys had press conference early today, and I heard that come up. You know, I think there definitely is tampering, but it goes back to how do you prove it? You know, because if you can't prove it, you know, like I think there's been with some guys that we've lost, but that's really, really hard to prove. You know, I think a lot of the advice comes from people that are well intentioned. Okay, and maybe that's a personal trainer, maybe that's even a parent or an aunt, uncle that maybe don't know the day-to-day in the business. And they say, hey, well, you're a backup here, you should go be a starter, or you're a starter here, but I think this system would be better for you. Okay, or maybe you're a starter, but you're not the featured guy. You can go here and be a featured guy. But the numbers are overwhelming. I mean, the number of Power 5 scholarship football players that are in the portal and the number that go from Power 5 to Power 5 is so few. You know, and you can look at the numbers that we've had here. It's hard, you know, and while I do think it's a really good tool for some people, it's also backfired on a lot of people too. Anybody, final questions? Anybody? Yeah, Mike.
It sounds like it's hard to retain. That still has to happen, I guess, too. How much new thinking do you have to do? Everybody have to figure out just what not that what isn't working, but what could have worked 5 years ago. All the dynamics are different. So what's the new normal to make people stick around?
I think that it's something that you continuously think about. And part of it, Mike, is you got to say, okay, I can't keep them all. So, you know, who do we really need to put our efforts into, because you're not going to be able to keep them all. You know, especially when you start talking about offensive skill positions, that's something that's a huge factor. All right, same thing defensively, because it's easier to rotate on defense. You know, so when you're setting up your rotations and things, that's something that goes in. You know, and I think that's something that you have to. You know, the one thing that's came up on some of this, and I know Todd Berry, who's the president of the AFCA, is he talked about this little buffer period between the end of the regular season and the contact period. You know, where you can come back and have sit downs and talk to your players and things like that. I think that's something that needs to be evaluated for sure. But am I conscious, is our staff conscious of retaining? Absolutely. You know, or re-recruiting? Yes. Anybody else? Okay. Thank y'all. See y'all on Friday. Thanks.